Back down in the boiler house, working away. As you can see above me is the PEX line that I've just run. That is the emergency safety cooling line. I've got the valve set in, so in its current state it's open so water will circulate through there. When I energize that with a 24 volt low power circuit, it closes. So what I want to do is fill this and then close that, and then that holds cold water up in that loop above the boiler, and then if the power fails, the power goes off, the electricity goes off to that valve, it opens, and that cold water, because it's heavier than the hot water, dumps down in and reduces the temperature of the water in the boiler if it's firing. So if we're getting up to temperature, say, and the water in here in the boiler it's firing, it's about 200 degrees. We don't want the power to go off without the pumps running or anything, because that temperature will keep rising, will go over the boiling point. It will turn to steam, blow the boiler. So the idea is the cold water dumps in there, takes that 200 degree water, and then lowers it, even if it's by 40 degrees is plenty to stall things, because the pumps won't be running, the fans won't be running, the fire will go out in the firebox eventually before it can regain momentum to get the thing above freezing. I'm not relying on this, because not only have I done it wrong, basically I've used just 3/4 inch PEX. If I was going to do PEX alone, I probably should have done 1 inch PEX to hold a greater volume of water, but I'm almost out of 1 inch PEX, and I need the remaining to finish the 1 inch lines. And also it's really stiff and heavy, and so 3/4 is standard. I've run 10 feet more than required, basically, in terms of water volume for this size boiler. Plus, I'm not actually going to rely. I put it in because in the past we've had issues with power outages, and it just buys me a little bit of time to come back and re-energize the boiler or whatever, or switch over to a generator, whatever. But I shouldn't need to do that, because I am going to use my power cube here, which acts as an uninterruptible power source. So it should run the 2 primary pumps that need to run and the boiler fans for up to an hour if necessary. So, and because I will be aware and conscious of when I'm firing the boiler those times. And it's not like before when it was going to constantly be running throughout the day and night. So then that buys me a lot of time. So that's a double safety precaution. Eventually I may build a bigger battery bank or solar on here or something tied to batteries so that power outages won't ever be an issue. Anyway, so that's the safety aspect. I've got that attached. I finished the plumbing yesterday. I'm going to put together my test rig and see if I can pressurize the black iron pipe that's here. That is not the tanks, because the tanks will take a long time to fill. So I figured I would just test everything that wasn't the tanks. That should be a much faster prospect, and that also covers 90% of the joints. We'll give that a shot, and if necessary, I can shut off and test each tank individually. So I'm only trying to fill up, I'm only trying to fill up, 400 gallons worth of air rather than 800 at one time. My little pancake contractor's compressor won't probably fill these up easily, but the rest of the pipe, it should fill up. So I'm gonna give that a shot next. Because if I can sign off on the pipe work, especially there at the boiler, at the water heaters, then I can get that soldering done. Then I can get the cold water line and hot water line out installed. After I pressure test, or while I'm pressure testing, I'll also be working on getting this pump mounted and finishing the PEX going up to the barn. Right now, I've got to get some power to the compressor. It is obvious to me, after I've tried to pressure test what I could of the system, that my little contractor's pancake compressor isn't going to meet up that little guy right there. Just can't put out the volume of air to even hint at showing anything on the gauge. I sat there for just 20 minutes. And so without being able to really put a high enough volume of air in, I can't tell whether I was still filling or it's all leaking out right away. So that didn't work. Ideally, I would have a way of testing a smaller volume of the system, but I shut the tanks off. I guess I could shut these tanks off and just try to do this section of the boiler, but that's still an awful lot of volume. That's 20 or 30 gallons, and I think that's like a 4-gallon pancake compressor. So we're talking about, yeah, and if there was any one leak anywhere, the folly of that just dawned on me. If there's anything leaking that's a big enough leak to spill out as fast as that pumps in, I will never achieve pressure on the system. So now I really don't know what to do. I don't have a bigger compressor. I just don't know what to do. I realize now, obviously, that would take a pretty big compressor to do that. I don't know how boiler guys pressure test their systems other than confidence and just pour the water to it. Doing it in the summer when you got a little bit of time and not fighting. We're about to experience one of the coldest periods that we have in any winter, but this one, we haven't had something this cold, according to the meteorologists, for several years. So that means it's bad. If they're talking about what do they call it, frost quakes, so the ground freezes so rapidly that it heaves and you can hear vibrations, and trees are going to be exploding due to the rapid fall in temperature. There are places that are predicted to be minus 35 by the weekend. Hopefully not right here. I think we're sort of in the 0 to -5 range, but then there's wind chill. So that's going to be the coldest days. It's 24 out there right now. It's actually rather lovely with the sun and there's no wind. But this weekend, and it's Tuesday today, basically I have tomorrow's going to be warm, and then part of Thursday, and then at night, even tonight it's going to be in the teens. Tomorrow it'll be in the single digits. Thursday it'll warm up a bit, but it'll get cold, and I think we're minus temperatures Thursday night. So I don't know what to do. I was hoping to pressure test stuff. I was hoping to be able to get some of the system going. I was hoping to be able to fill the tank. I've called plumbers. We've contacted tradespeople to see if there's anybody who can come down here and give me a hand, because ideally I would be filling this today, tomorrow, and getting running Thursday, so that by the deepest cold of the weekend, it's up and running and I'm heating the buildings. Because right now we just have space heaters turned on full, keeping it warm, not keeping it lukewarm, not even temperate. So it's going to be a very expensive weekend if we can't get the system going. I don't see how that's possible at this point. I still have the soldering to do, which I'm not confident enough to do myself. Sure, I've soldered lots, but these things, those two tanks are a lot of money. And if I screw up any of those fittings, then that's a big deal. That's a major headache. And I do not want my amateur soldering on these very expensive, necessary water tanks to ruin something. So that's why I want to hire a professional or get someone who's good at soldering to do it. So yeah, that's where that stands. I'm gonna try and work on these PEX lines going out to the barn. See if I can get those somewhat aligned in here, because that's kind of the next big thing. And I wish I could be filling this system with water right now, but I just can't. I don't feel confident in doing that. Yeah, what this has gone from well within my capabilities and a fun, easy project that's complicated but that I feel confident in, to me teetering on a precipice of failure. Because, you know, if I fill this with water and there's all these leaks, then I've got a lot of water down here and leaks that I've got to take time to repair, and waste of water and the potential for anything to freeze and a mess. Or I just don't know. It's it's one of those things. Like I said, in the summer, I wouldn't, at this particular stage of the project, if this was even September or October, wouldn't be batting an eye. Wouldn't care. I'd be filling these tanks while I do other stuff. I'd use the water to check the leaks. I'd go for it. But where we've got negative temperatures coming, deep negative temperatures, I'm going to get my buddies, I've asked them if I can borrow some big kerosene salamander to heat this place up. That will at least buy me some, filling and getting some hot water in here kind of stuff. But yeah, I wish there was an easier way to pressure test these. Because if this joint is misaligned at all, it will leak air. And I will never know that. I won't hear it hissing or anything. And it could be misaligned. It looks misaligned from here, but it might not be. They could all be tight. I just don't know. And I've contacted the grant people because it turns out I'm still, even though I've done what I've done, I may still be eligible for grant money, but they've increased the number of hoops I have to jump through, because it now falls outside of what I originally said that I was going to be building and doing. They want even more. They basically want all the information I provided for the original grant plus more. And they want someone, a paid professional, to sign off on it. And let me tell you, I've been trying to contact the paid professional for a gasification wood boiler system. And the nearest one is down in the Boston area. And their fee we can't afford. At this point, we're broke. Certainly as far as the system goes. We got operational money, but cash flow is tight. Because it's winter. And winter on a farm, you don't make a lot of money. So if I can avoid spending any more money on here, hiring a plumber is one thing. Because, I can, a couple hours at $120 an hour. All right. To get this system up and going, yes, I will pay that. To have someone come up from Boston at like $300 or $400 an hour, no. That's thousands of dollars for this. We can't afford that, so ain't gonna happen. I just don't know. Gotta press forward though. Gotta keep going. Naked eye visible aurora. Well, it's 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. I'm finally getting around to doing something down here. and it just went horribly awry. Awry? Anyway, problem with the ramp up to the shipping container in the snow is it gets icy. So I had 3 things I had to bring up in here, and I managed to do okay, except this second bag tipped. And it tipped against the first bag of firewood that I put in here, and now I can't get through. Really gonna struggle. I guess I can squeeze through this way. I wanted to move this bag back and over a little bit, but the ramp was too icy and the tracks were sliding. So, okay, that's good to know. Ideally, this will be preloaded with firewood enough for the winter when I get to that point and we're actually firing the boiler. But hey, almost a quart of firewood in here. That means I must be gonna fire it soon. So that's positive. And then I also went and picked up my buddy's kerosene heater. So I'm gonna go get the skid steer put away, and I'm gonna seal this up because I've got the heater going there. I shouldn't have. I left it on because we did something else this morning. First thing, our neighbor came over, who's an accomplished metal worker, and she did the soldering on the pipe for the boiler that we needed done. Because I tried to get a plumber. She'd offered, and that was great. We took her up on it, but I also yesterday had tried to get someone we know, a professional plumber, to come and do some pressure testing, which was foolish. It didn't work. I tried to do it, and my compressor couldn't hold up to the rigors of needing to pressure test to pump the air in. It just can't handle it. And I realized most contractors won't have that right kind of compressor to be able to do that. The plumber never got back to me, but I did say, if you're here and we're doing this inspection of my system, then maybe solder those four unions. But that didn't work out anyway, so I'm just gonna push that shut for the moment and go park the skid steer, take the forks off. So anyway, 2 bags of firewood in there, great. That's a huge step forward. Now it claims it's 30 degrees out, but there's a heck of a wind. I bet you it's not much over half that. It feels really sharp. I just got to keep going. I am hoping that tomorrow will be a lot warmer, and now I've got the kerosene heater that we can get this system full. Now I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and test it with water and pray for the best, because like I said, I tried to air test it and the volume of air necessary is too great, and if there was any one leak in the system, I couldn't tell because it was taking, so I tried it for a half hour. I think I might have said, I don't know. So yeah, that wasn't going to work with my compressor, and I think that most people probably wouldn't do that. And I can't get a plumber to get back to me. Now that is a problem, because I was also hoping while the plumber was here that I could get them to do a little inspection of the installation and maybe sign off on it in some kind of, pay them a little money to sign off on it, because we put this in, the original system was designed under a grant, and we made it so it would work for the grant. This system now has changed significantly from the system, well, not in components, but in location and installation, and I had, because of where I was put, I'm still not, I don't know, I might need a radiator in there to help keep it warm. We'll see, but because of where I had originally put it and some calculations that we needed a radiator in the area and some insulation and a bunch of construction elements that I didn't need to do, but then there's the shipping container, which wasn't part of the original bid or grant. So I'm not sure what we're going to get out of this, if we're going to get any money. And they also were asking me about warranties. Well, I bought, I'm trying to put the bucket back on the skid steer before I park it. They want warranties. Well, there are no warranties on the system I got. Maybe on the, I suppose there's some warranties on the water heaters, but there's no warranty on that boiler because it's from 2017 and it's not being sold brand new. It was used, even though it is new. So I don't have a warranty on that, and I'm not sure what the warranty would be on those pressure tanks, but they are ASME and tested and certified, so I can put that down on the paperwork. They also want to know who installed the system for me, because technically a homeowner or farmer or whatever isn't supposed to install the system. You need a professional. Well, I'm sorry, there really aren't professionals. Yeah, there's a company in Boston, but they made it clear it was pretty expensive to come up here, and I couldn't afford that. So there's some criteria for the grant that we no longer meet, and that could be a problem to getting the grant. I will apply with the minimum amount of information I have and see what happens. So yeah, that would have been a side benefit, hopefully, of getting the plumber we knew out here to kind of get that extra, paid for set of eyes. And but anyway, we need the heating system, so it's going to save us a ton of money. That's why we're doing it, and not for the grant. If we don't get the grant, we've already afforded it. And it also, by doing it the way I've done it with the used boiler and putting in the shipping container stuff, we've also saved a ton of money. And not doing it because the grant means that, not doing it to the original grant means that we save a bunch of money. So I like grants. Cost sharing grants are great. Ones with lots of conditions and tied to certain things that only pay a percentage of the total bill. Often the requirements jack the price up so that benefit of having the grant is negated by the additional costs that you have to incur in order to achieve the grant's parameters, and that was kind of the condition here. I have saved a lot of money by doing it the way I'm doing it, and I don't think the 25% grant will, getting that 25% back would be great. But I don't think that 25% of what the original estimate was for the system was, a lot of that was due to the extra cost. It was just going to cover the extra cost pretty much. So I paid the portion that we would have had to foot for the system anyway. So if we lose the grant, we lose the grant. And the solar grants, like the one for the biomass boiler, are pretty much the same setup. It's a lot of hassle, a lot of paperwork, a lot of parameters, and a lot of extra costs to do it their way rather than a way which might make more sense. All right, you probably can't hear me, but I got the blast furnace going and warming up nicely in here. I can actually feel my hands all of a sudden. So that's good. And I have my buddy's hand truck, the pallet jack back there, and I think we might get one for moving those pallets of wood closer eventually. I'm still in construction mode, so I got stuff spread out, and I will designed some shelves that go above the level of the bags of firewood, so we can have storage up there. Wow, it's really warm in here. That thing puts out some significant heat. I've got air intake here and I've got the door cracked, so I shouldn't pass out from carbon monoxide poisoning. Anyway, I'm gonna move a bunch of stuff around, clear some wood, clear some paper and stuff out around the boiler, so get it ready for firing while that thing heats up the room. I want to stay in here. That thing has a thermostat on it, so I've got it dialed right down to about 50 degrees, and we'll see when that kicks off. But I want to get as much of this stuff that's not necessary to be down here cleared up, so I can just get ready to do stuff. I still need to wire that second controller today too, I hope, or go up in the barn and work. I don't know where my time is best spent at this point. Wow, I just turned off that last clip and walked over to the salamander, they're called, and looked. It said 50 degrees. I came back here, went to look at what I was doing on the floor here, and that clicked off. And it is so warm in here. That barely took any time at all. And I'm just going to leave it set at that setting. And it's automatic. It's supposed to maintain that temperature. So that's good. I can set that at the lowest, which I think is 40 degrees, and leave that in here overnight. Make sure that all flammable stuff's pulled away from it, of course. I can leave that in here and see whether tomorrow it is the right temperature in here and that things are, warm. Also, the other plan is to warm up the actual stuff that's in here. I mean, all this pipes, all this fittings were, stone cold before, but now if we can get that running and get this place warmer, that might actually be a good thing. I should probably seal up that hole where the pipes come right there where I can feel the breeze. And also it's not too bad, those two, it's not too bad, those two inlets right there, bringing fresh air in. That needs fixed, but it's allowing some fresh air to come in here to fight the kerosene. All right, I am down here finishing up for the day. I guess I've been kind of getting dopey. Maybe it's the fumes. I don't know. I've been in and out a few times for fresh air. So this furnace, it's 170,000 BTUs, something like that. Anyway, it's heating the space up to 50 degrees. And the thermometers, I put the thermometers in because I could. They're showing 50 degrees. It's doing it in about a minute and a half. I put in this valve as well, and I finished the 4 valve connections to PEX on all the points of the water heaters, so they're ready to plumb tomorrow. And I went up and got some more wire to finish wiring that controller in the morning. Definitely didn't get as far out today as I wanted to, but I had a doctor appointment. I had errands. I had to go to my neighbor's to pick that up. I had farm stuff. I was really hoping to be able to be done with a lot more things today and be filling the system with water tomorrow because it's going to be in the mid-30s. Supposed to be well above freezing. Tonight the low is going to be 22 and it's snowing. So I'm not sure what that means for anything. Friday is going to be 27 as the high with a wind, so probably figure 20. And it's going to be -3 and plus a wind overnight. So I'm not sure if and I don't see how I can get water put in here. I have to be here working while I'm filling water, checking for leaks and things. I still have to rotate the pump, the actual boiler pump, because it's in the wrong orientation. I learned last night. I have to be down here to check for leaks and things while this is filling. So I need to leave myself a few things to do while I'm doing that. But I have a bunch of outdoor work to do that I need to do tomorrow because I didn't get it done today. I need to do that tomorrow, and that will help. Then maybe Friday I fill it. And like I think it's going to take more than a day to fill. That's the problem. And it has to be full in order to run. So there's a dilemma, but at least for now I have the blast furnace, and it's holding temp. It takes 1:45 to heat to 50 degrees, and that lasts roughly 25 minutes before it kicks on again for another 1.5 minutes. Throws it back up to 50. Now that's with that door at the end open, cracked open for ventilation for the moment, and also to pass the power cord through to run that thing. I have it on a different circuit from any of the stuff in here because it draws a lot of juice. So I'm going to turn that off for the night because I don't like the idea at the moment for leaving it running. I can also set it so that it goes only as high as 40, which may be how I set it tomorrow night and just leave it run overnight if it's going to run. But I don't think I should leave it on tonight. And I want to see, now that we're sort of a comfortable, this says 53, and turn it off. I want to see how well this space holds this temperature. I've got any number of thermometers going now, so I can tell basically what the temps are in here. Just static without anything happening. So I know there's some air leakage. There is a draft on the floor, so I don't know if that's from leaving that end wall refrigeration unit in. And I'm not sure what to do about sealing that up. If that is a major air leak, I don't know if I need to once this system's going. And there's a little bit of cold air coming in around these two vents and a little bit coming in from the end. But we'll close things up tonight. It's 50 plus, what's it say? Oh, this thermometer here now says it's 60. This gauge is moved closer to 60. I think that's off. These are both reading high 50s. So we'll see where we're at in the morning with this thing not running and everything sealed up in here, because that would be better to not run this thing overnight. And I also have to close. I didn't want this extension cord running through the power elephant trunk hole in the corner there, whatever we're calling that, feed hole, because it's going to get sealed up probably tomorrow. So I ran it a different way in order to get a different, stronger circuit. So I have it go through the door. So I got to close that for the night. So I got to pull this extension cord and hope to hit it hard tomorrow. I'm going to go take a break, and then I got to hit farm chores, feed the cows for the night, bed them, make sure everybody's watered and fed.